The Invest in Her podcast is brought to you in part by Wells Fargo Bank. Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation and producer of the new movie called Show Her the Money. And that's where I met my next guest when we were at a screening in Milwaukee. I want to welcome to the show the founder of GenoPalate, and we're going to tell you what that is. Welcome to the show, Sherry Zhang. Hi, Sherry. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm great, actually. How are you, Catherine? So good to see you again since
you too.
last, great event of your movie.
Yeah, I'd never been to Milwaukee before. It was great. I met a lot of amazing women like yourself, and it was great to meet you at the screening. How'd you like Show Her the Money?
As I shared on the stage when we talked afterwards, I cried so many times during the showing. I believe you have 5-6 kind of intertwined female entrepreneur stories. Well done. I can see myself in every single one of those stories, from different moments and different, storylines. So it's very touching. It's well done. I think that's the point, right? You touch the hearts of people who have done that or people wants to do that.
I'm so glad you said that. And I so appreciated your feedback today and that day that we met at the screening because entrepreneurship is a tough road. And I think what people love about the movie is how heart-centered it is, right? We really tell the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an entrepreneur. And most of the entrepreneurs in the audience feel like you do. They really relate to it. And I know it has been a challenge to launch your company, GenoPalate, but it shouldn't be because it's such an amazing innovation. And I want to talk about what GenoPalate is and how you came to have this idea and how important it is because it's a nutritional genetic test with regard to what should we be eating? What should we be putting in our bodies? And that it's not a one size fits all. And that's the beauty of the testing that you're doing is people finding out, right? Like what's good for them, a customized type of approach to this. So I'm going to let you talk about it because you're the expert here. What made you decide to create this innovation, and how did you get started with this? Like, give us a little background.
Happy to. Well, how much time we have, right? To your point, it's so hard for anyone to take an idea, just an idea from the thin air, so to speak, to build something and eventually grow it. And if you lucky and working really hard, you can make something happen. That's really, really hard. But that's also the beauty of our country, right? We're full of entrepreneurs, founders, want to do the work, brave enough to start something new. So definitely resonating what you said with me. So my story is pretty simple in a way. It's a long journey, but I'm a curious kid when I grew up in northern China. Just love animals, love life. Always wonder why. Drive my mother and my teachers crazy sometimes. So I want to find out, when I see a problem, I want to find out what caused it, what could be the solution, right? I think that's really at the core, curiosity, problem solving. Now, my career path took me to become all the way to a senior scientist at Medical College of Wisconsin, and then eventually become an assistant professor. So they recruited me as a faculty member. It was a dream job for me. That's all I wanted when I grew up. And I was doing research on obesity genetics, right? So that's my know-how.
Wait a minute. Genomics. You were doing the research on obesity genetics because I want to find out what's the causality underlying the epidemic of obesity, which is 70% of American adults are suffering from it, overweight and obese, and it's only going up, it's not coming down. And then about 17 million of American children, adolescents, are suffering from it, and then again going up. Globally, same issue. Okay, so it wasn't a personal problem for you, obviously, but you just were bothered by the fact of these numbers and how outrageous they are, and you wanted to do something to help make a difference about it. It wasn't anybody. It wasn't anybody in your family or somebody you knew that purported this.
It's funny you mentioned it. Actually, it is in my DNA, in my family. The tendency of overeating, and overweight. Then we hope we are. So one story is from my mom. Drives me to be always. Probably one of the reasons I got into obesity and stay in that research direction, because there's many great directions you can use genomics technology to find out, because it's, the beauty of genetics. It determines all the health aspects of our phenotypes. But my mom is a beautiful lady, intelligent, everything. And she always worry about her weight. That's the problem, right? It's not necessarily how people see us, it's how we feel. And so she's always on this quest for reaching the optimal weight. Underlying that is, do you feel you are on your optimal self when you have reached that optimal body composition, right? So I watched her the whole life of mine suffering from this ongoing struggle. So that's one thing. And then when I had the opportunity to study under the person who coined the metabolic syndrome for the world, Dr. Ahmed Kasiba, who is no longer with us, unfortunately, but he developed a fantastic genetic study, ongoing research program supported by the NIH and other foundations, other agencies for over 2 decades. When I joined, they are at a peak where we could actually do genome-wide screening for biomarkers which we can use to find out what kind of genetic factors, and then specifically the mutations in our ancestry makes Catherine's genetic determination differently from Sherry Zhang's. For however, whatever you are researching for, whether it's hypertension or diabetes and inflammation or overweight, right? So that's really the kind of a collection of phenotypes that we're studying. So it's a long kind of winded answer to say it's my passion to find out what's going on under this big problem that affects my mother, who I love so much, affects me, believe it or not, and potentially affects everybody if we don't do it right? So, and the fact that we have from the business opportunity perspective, or just talking about a problem-solving perspective, I believe I have a key to a universal key to answer that big question that everybody has. What should I eat? Because everybody has a fantastically beautiful, unique genome, and we still don't have enough access to it. So that is my passion now. That's so interesting and motivating. It leverage or utilize. I'm still growing, still learning every day. Everything I know, everything I can know, to build a team and to try to approach this question.
Well, it's absolutely fascinating. I want to dig a little deeper so that the average person can understand exactly what this is and how it works. So the GenoPalate test, how does it work? Like, is it a blood test, or what kind of a test is it? I know you have done this on thousands of people, so explain the process.
Thank you. Glad to report the update. We actually typed over 170,000 people in America. Yeah, we are one of the leading, biggest deep database for nutritional genetics. So thank you. How it works is actually a fun, easy process. We spend a lot of effort into making sure of that. As you know, it's a lab-based test. It's high-tech, a lot of work. It can be not easy, so we make it accessible for individual. Let's say you, Catherine, want to take our test today, and it's no blood is involved. It's a swab test. You order online. Everything is on GenoPalate.com. You order your test. Days later, you will receive that in your mail. And I will show you how to go through this process. It takes literally a few minutes. You need to stop eating and drinking 20 minutes before that to collect your epithelial DNA in a clean way. And then we have a buffer. You just swab a few times left cheek, right cheek, and then put it in the buffer and seal it, send it back, pre-labeled mailer. We got it at the lab. So then the anxious wait will start, and we will actually continue to engage with you, prepare you for what kind of reports, results that you can expect, and also start to educating you how to understand your personalized nutrition through a different lens with science.
So somebody sends it in the swab, much like what I've heard people do with like Ancestry.com, something like that, right? Very similar. So they send it in, and then what kind of report do they get? Do you mail them? Do you email them? Do you call them? And what does the results tell them? Does it tell them health feedback? Does it tell them what to eat? Like, what is the feedback?
Yeah, great question. So about 3 to 5 weeks later, if you go through our laboratory test, there's 2 ways to do that. We can get into the other path. If you get through our lab testing system, 3 to 5 weeks later, Catherine, if you take it, you will receive a notification through email. And if you share with your other contact, we will also contact you that way too. So you know your reports are ready for you when you log into your secure private account with GenoPalate. Now you can access your account on your PC or any devices, including your mobile phones. As we all know, we live on our phones now. So our mobile app is one of the most sophisticated featured application throughout our devices, but you will get to see the results from anywhere. And then in the results, we provide 3 individual modules, or you can call them individual reports. The first one is called Essential Nutrition, which pretty much tells you from alcohol to zinc, we call it A to Z, anything that has robust clinical trials, evidence-based recommendations we can infer from those studies to tell you you have this kind of genotype for certain genes or genetic collection of them, or pathway sometimes. Sometimes it's not just one gene. They all just like people, they work in a community to get one job done well. And we'll tell you what kind of micronutrients, for example, all sorts of vitamins, minerals, right? And molecules that give you sensitivities. We have a gluten sensitivity marker. We have alcohol. We have caffeine. We have lactose. I'm lactose intolerant from my Asian ancestry, by the way. So we have all those nutritional insights in the essential nutrition report. That's really the foundation. And then building on top of the genetic insights, we provide you algorithm-informed optimal foods. So to your point, at the end of the day, okay, great science. I know my genotypes. What do I eat, Sherry, right? So we give you that answer. People use
I love that. So you actually tell them what they should be eating.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Because think about the nutrients informed by your genetics tell us what kind of whole foods. We start with whole foods, obviously, to deliver the more concentration of that, right? So if you it's very complicated, but just make it simple. If you're zinc deficient, which a lot of Americans are, if you want to have high zinc foods, then we'll recommend certain nuts or certain fruits and vegetables or, legumes or to provide that, right? But as you can imagine, the algorithm is more complicated. It's food dimensional. And so that's the optimal foods part, highly visited by our users, obviously. People, the reason it's nice is on the mobile phone, we have a way to print out a shopping list. So you can shop for your genes, literally. Go to your grocery store, order your, nutrition supplements and you name it. So we try to make it very handy, very
user-friendly. That's fantastic.
User-friendly. It takes a lot of effort, as you can imagine, right? So that's where the science it's already hard to deliver, and it's harder to translate that to some everyday people, and me included. I'm a busy mom outside of the science and research domain and work. What do I eat? What do I use to cook and prepare to feed my son, my family? That's every day's question we want to help answer.
So does that GenoPalate, for instance, let me just give a for instance, like, would it maybe tell me, oh, you have high cholesterol, therefore you shouldn't be eating whatever, salt or something? Like, is it like that? Is it like it knows what's wrong with your body, so it knows what nutrients you need to make it better? Is that an explanation that works for you?
Yeah, you are actually right on the target. So at the core, there's always this 3 elements determining what kind of recommendations or directions we give you. There's a quantity associated with that too, to be precise. But at the core, it's really talking about, Catherine has this genotype for when you, based on other people's trials for you, literally, right? The previous research, people share your genotype compared to other genotypes that maybe Sherry has. When they eat the same thing, they will be having different outcomes for hypertension. For example, you use a salt as an example is actually a very key element from the nutrient side. People have genotype. I believe I have that high risk genotype where I eat the same level of salt as some other people, but I have more tendency of developing hypertension down the road.
Wow.
Or currently, right? Or when I age. So there's a lot of elements to support that recommendation or decision tree. But you're right on. It's exactly how we determine.
And what's the third pillar?
The third pillar is metabolic health, right? So your genes, the food you eat, what kind of metabolic conditions or outcomes you can get based on evidence. So that's the 3 elements.
Wow. So it tells you like how to optimize your metabolism.
Pretty much. Yeah. Based on your own unique combination of those genetic factors. That's why we're so different from each other.
When I have so many questions. First of all, what does this cost?
The lab route will cost you about, it change based on the promotion. I think the summertime we offer at $159. So it's less than $200.
Oh my gosh, that's really reasonable. And
it's very reasonable.
And so when you did your research on all these thousands of people, was it both men and women?
Men and women, 90 years old all the way to, we used to take minors, but we currently don't for regulation concerns and so on. But so adults, as long as you're 18 and above, we'll be able to test you. And then we talk about everybody has a genome, everybody is unique. They need to know the genetic combination they have for metabolic health. So this really applied to anyone.
And so you're raising funding to do more research or marketing, or what is your raise for that someone could have an equity position in this company?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So as a science-based nutrition company, science is always where we invest most and first. That's the core. And then we are more competitive because we are more innovative compared to other competitors. So that's number one area where the proceeds will go to. The second place is really we're large enough and also recognized in our industry. It's emerging, but it's growing fast. Food is medicine, personalized nutrition is the areas we are leaders for. The channels partners is the key to get us from close to 200,000 people to 2 million and more, right? So as we scale up, and that's really where the funding is going be distributed towards. And kind of back to science a little bit, from science to the market, is really good product, good experience. How do we retain the people? We have very loyal customers, thanks to all the investment in, and also the science itself. But also we build out in the past, 5 years into the market. We have we're direct to consumer, by the way, only. So we have tons of customer stories. We have the deepest customer understanding of what could stick and what don't, for formulating a healthier habits. So that's really matters at the end of the day. No matter how much good science you have, if the experience is not good, the taste of your food is not good, it's not going to help them on the long run. So we would like to continue building that relationship through investing in making the retention higher and sustainable, making the customer experience the best in the field.
So they would go to, what is the website? GenoPalate?
GenoPalate.com.
GenoPalate.com is where they would get the test that we're talking about, so that they can test your genetics to see what issues you have going on, and then apply what foods will be best for those issues so you can create optimum health. I know a lot of people are, taking things to lose weight, but this might be the more natural way to go and tell you exactly what healthy things you should be eating for your health. And I think it's really clever, really unique. I can see it having such a huge market globally. And I really applaud the work you're doing. I know at the heart of this, you're a scientist and a researcher, and you really love this arena, right?
I love it. I love the most rewarding point, Catherine. I can tell you, moving from a professor, which I love, to entrepreneurs and founder of the company, but still doing science, but in a deeper, higher impact way, if I may, because I can directly talk to my patients or patients, customers and members, and I get feedback, and I got to be part of their stories and lives. That's That's just so rewarding.
I love that. It's so great when you're living your passion and your purpose, which you obviously are. Helping people improve their health in a natural way. I think it's amazing. I think our listeners should check out GenoPalate.com. I know I'm going to do it. I want to do that test. That's awesome. And really appreciate that you're, putting your heart and your mind into this incredible journey and helping so many people. And I know you're going to help so many thousands more. It's going to be an incredible future for this product for sure. And, I just want people to know that how they can get to you other than the website. So I take it are you on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, people can just search my name and then I believe it will show up. Otherwise, put the GenoPalate, Sherry Zhang.
Right. And for those that are just listening today, I just want to tell you her name is spelled Y-I-E, and then Sherry, S-H-E-R-R-Y, and then last name is Z-H-A-N-G, Zhang. So glad we met. So glad to have you on today. What a really interesting and important topic, and really appreciate the entrepreneurial work you're doing. I'm cheering you on. I hope a lot of people want to get involved after hearing this today, either as a customer or otherwise. And so thanks, Sherry. I really appreciate this interview. It's amazing. You're such a brilliant woman, and so happy our paths have crossed. And thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me. And I want to see your movie coming back. I heard there's a rumor that you may bring it back to Milwaukee, so I cannot wait to see that and see you again.
Yes, thank you. We are hoping to do that. And we're also going to start streaming it through our Kinema platform to corporations and large groups. So people that are interested and didn't get to see it in person at one of our cities on our 100 city tour will get to see it in streaming pay-per-view. So that's coming up. And everybody, you can find Sherry on LinkedIn. You can also find me, Catherine Gray, on LinkedIn, Catherine with a C and Gray with an A. And, of course, visit our movie site. It is showherthemoneymovie.com for screenings or how to book a screening. Also, we have a resources page if you want to learn about investing in venture capital and angel investing. We have books and, of course, podcasts, workshops, and events. Thank you so